All right, who's ready for a 100K mistake? This is the DM problem that nobody really talks about. There's a lot of founders out there leaving 6 figures or more on the table every single year because of how they handle LinkedIn DMs. And I am not talking about spam or mass automation, guys. What I'm talking about are real missed opportunities with warm leads, perfect fit clients, high leverage collaborators, all because of lazy execution or no execution at all. It's ironic. You spend hours crafting content, you polish your profile, you build your brand, and then when somebody actually shows up who is curious or warm or ready, you either ignore them, you fumble the opener, or you drown them in a wall of text. And that one moment, that's your 100K mistake. So, this is what I've seen again and again in founder-led brands. They've got great top-of-funnel presence. They've got inbound interest sparked by real credibility. And then silence in the inbox, or even worse, a team member handling messages like it's tier 1 support. You wouldn't hand your best investor or client to a junior hire with zero context. But that's exactly what is happening in the DMs, especially when founders treat them like a distraction rather than a priority. So your inbox, it's not a burden, it's the conversion layer of your brand. It is where curiosity becomes trust. It is where trust becomes conversation. And it is where conversation becomes cash. If you ignore it or automate it or overcomplicate it, you are literally severing the line between visibility and revenue. Don't get me wrong, guys. I am not just saying you need to live in your inbox. By no means. But if you are spending hours a week on content and 0 minutes on how those conversations are actually going to get captured, then you're not really running a brand. You are running a billboard. So, here's time to unpack the exact psychology behind why most founders avoid DMs and how that avoidance, it's quietly draining your business. Let's talk about it. This is why founders are avoiding DMs, even when they actually work. If you know that LinkedIn DMs can drive high-ticket clients, if you've seen it happen, maybe even once or twice in your own inbox, why don't you lean in? Why do so many smart and capable founders avoid the one channel that consistently turns signal into revenue? Here's the real reason. The DM, it doesn't really feel important enough. You've been conditioned to believe that big moves happen on big stages. Keynotes, webinars, paid ads, splashy content. But the DM, it feels pedestrian, low leverage, below your level. It's the same trap that makes entrepreneurs chase scale before they've actually mastered the basics. Remember, guys, it's the fundamentals, and it gets deeper than that. For many founders, the DM is emotionally loaded. You worry that you won't know what to say, that you'll come across as salesy, that you'll be judged for initiating, or even worse, that they won't reply at all. So you rationalize the silence. They weren't serious. If they wanted to work with me, they'd have booked a call. I'll just wait for better leads. But that's not strategy. That is avoidance. And avoidance is what kills conversions. The DM, it's not beneath you. It's your most direct path to revenue. Think about this. A comment's nice. A like is fine. But a message, that's active intent. It's someone actually leaning in, even just slightly. And every single time you ignore that micro signal, you are training your business to be passive. Founders avoid DMs because they haven't been taught exactly how to use them with clarity and confidence and control, the 3 C's. They either over-dominate or automate, and they don't show up at all. Neither works. So, now I'm going to walk you through the exact anatomy of a high-converting DM. Okay, here's what to say, what not to say, and how to frame every single message around value, not just neediness. So let's get into it. This is the anatomy of a high converting DM. A lot of DMs fail for one reason. They sound like they were written by someone who either doesn't care or cares way too much. What you need is a message that strikes the perfect middle ground. Warm, direct, valuable, unattached to outcomes. So let's break this down. Here's what this means. Okay, this is the formula that I teach founders who really want to move six figures through their inbox. 1, context before content. Always start with the why. This is what separates a lot of thoughtful outreach from spam. So here's an example. I saw your content on so-and-so post. Curious about your take. Or your profile came up after I posted about topic. Thought I'd reach out. We've got a lot of mutuals. Figured it was time that we should actually be connected. Even if it's just one line, it really changes the tone completely. Here's number 2, signal alignment. This is where you mirror their interests, their content, or even their pain points, not in a manipulative way, but to show relevance. Here's some examples. It sounds like you're building something similar to what we work with. You mentioned X in a post recently. We've been seeing the same trend. This isn't about pitching, it's about positioning. Here's number 3, clear, low commitment invitation. Don't ask for a call immediately. Don't drop your calendar link cold. Instead, invite a micro engagement. Curious if that's something you're exploring, right? Happy to send over a quick breakdown if it's helpful. If you want to talk about ideas sometime, I'm around next week. Inviting. You're not selling, you are opening a door. The best DMs, they're not slick. They're clean, short, human, specific, like a handshake, not really a sales pitch. So when you stack these properly, response rates climb, and so does revenue. Right? Now, let's talk about the 3 types of messages that actually close deals, with examples from real client flows that have generated over $50K in revenue. Here we go. 3 DMs that actually close deals. So, you've opened the conversation. Now what? Most people, they either go in too hard or too fast, and they let the conversation fizzle with like a cool, and they never circle back. What closes deals in DMs, it's not aggression, it's sequenced clarity. So let me walk you through 3 real DM styles that quietly closed $50K in business. Each one is simple, human, and it's built around one thing, framing a next step that feels obvious. First one, the Curious Explorer DM. Okay, this is perfect for early stage leads who are really interested but not necessarily ready to buy. Here's an example. Totally get that you're just exploring right now. If it's helpful, I've got a short PDF on how we helped X client type grow, whatever the outcome is. Happy to send it over. No pressure either way. Here's why that works. You're offering value without neediness. It's a soft pull that builds credibility. Here's the second one. This is the low friction invite DM. So when someone's engaging regularly, but they haven't really reached out yet, here's an example. You've been showing up in the comments a lot. Really appreciate the signal, guys. Not sure if this is even relevant, but if you ever want to talk about topic or swap notes on what's working, I'm game. Here's why it works. It reframes the ask. It's not a pitch, it's a peer invitation. It's a high response, low resistance ask. Number 3, the direct bridge DM. Someone already in conversation with you. It's time to test the next step with them. Here's an example. Look, I really appreciate this conversation. Sounds like we're in the same boat. But I'm going to shut up if it's not useful. If you want to peek at how we're helping folks just like you simplify whatever their pain point is, happy to show you a behind the scenes curtain. Here's why it works. It's permission based. It's outcome framed. It's still casual. It keeps the power dynamic balanced. All right? The common thread in all three of these, a respectful tone, zero pressure, specific next steps. It's all anchored in relevance. These aren't scripts, they are structures, and they keep your pipeline warm without necessarily feeling gross. So, let's break down exactly how to systematize your DM flow without losing the human touch. This is so you can scale this, but without burning out. All right, let's go. Building a DM system that doesn't suck. Here's where a lot of founders get it wrong. They seem to think that systematizing DMs means hiring a VA and handing over the keys. Or even worse, they bolt on some AI auto reply tool and they watch their brand get reduced to a cold, robotic script. So let's be clear, DMs are a high trust environment. They are the modern day sales call. And if you hand them off to someone who does not sound like you, or think like you, or know your offer inside and out, you're gonna kill conversions, okay? Faster than any bad email campaign, okay? So how do you scale it right? You have to treat your DM flow like a lightweight client, a concierge system, one that moves people towards clarity, not into a funnel. So here's the 3-layer system that I would recommend that you use. First, a founder-led core conversation, 15 minutes a day daily. You handle the high signal leads, people who comment consistently, who engage deeply or ask intelligent questions. This is where trust is going to convert. Here's your tactic. Set a daily 15-minute DM block. No distractions, just warm touch follow-ups and trust building. Okay? Number 2, pre-written frameworks, not scripts. Okay? Create modular DM frameworks for different scenarios. First-time commenter, right? Profile viewer, a webinar registrant, post liker on pain point post. Okay? Let a trusted team member use these as guides, not as templates. The goal is consistency here. It's not robotic automation. Number 3, simple tag plus a follow-up workflow. So use your CRM or even like a GHL pipeline to tag conversations, right? Cold, curious, warm, engaged, ready to chat, something like that. Then you have weekly 30-minute DM reviews where you actually check the top 5 conversations and you decide, do I escalate, do I nurture, or do I let this thing go? This system, it keeps your DMs human while making them repeatable, okay? So it frees you up to focus on conversations that actually move the needle. Not bots, not blasts, just real connection at scale. So now it's time to show you how to track actual ROI from DMs. There's a 3-step attribution model that ties comments, messages, and content all to revenue without the guesswork. Ready? Here we go. Here's tracking revenue from the DMs without a spreadsheet, okay? No meltdowns. You're having conversations. You're getting replies. People are actually booking calls. But you're still asking yourself, how do I actually know this is working? A lot of founders out there, they default to either gut feeling or paralysis by spreadsheet when it comes to DM attribution. Neither of those work. You don't need a 40-step Zapier follow, work through. You need a lightweight signal to scale tracking system. So here's how I help clients do it without drowning in data. Step 1, track the first signal. When someone actually engages, comments, post like, profile view, etc., you log it into your CRM or even a simple Airtable. Use tags like first comment, right? Profile viewer, DM response, inbound ask. This is your origin story for each contact. Okay? Here's step 2. Tag the trigger DM. What does that mean? It means the moment you send or receive a meaningful message, not just a thanks or cool post, but real dialogue, tag it. with a category, something like this: authority follow-up, or pain point entry, or nurture drop-in, okay? Now you've got a paper trail of when the conversations shift from cold to warm. Here's tip number 3. Attribute the call plus close. Every single booked call should be traced back to a content source and a message thread. So, this doesn't have to be perfect. 70% clarity is more than enough. In your call notes, include something like this: origin, liked pain point post, right? Commented, DM'd, booked. That's it. Even if you don't close them, this builds attribution awareness, and it helps you see patterns faster. Here's a bonus tip. Review your top 5 closed clients each month and reverse map their DM journey, okay? You're gonna spot what's actually converting and what's wasting time. The goal here isn't perfect data, it's direction and insight, okay? So enough to double down on what works and kill what doesn't. So let's actually zoom out here, okay? I wanna show you how the DMs fit into your entire quiet growth strategy so you can use content, profile, and conversation in a tight revenue loop. This is building the quiet revenue loop. Everything that we've covered so far, content, comments, DMs, calls, exists in one unified system. So let's call it what it is. This is the quiet revenue loop. This isn't just about flashy viral posts. It's not about growth hacks or cold spam. This is about engineering a sustainable signal to sale cycle. One that turns visibility into trust and trust into revenue. So this is the full loop founders are going to need to run. Number 1, authority content built to spark. You publish weekly posts that do more than just educate. They spark curiosity in the right people. The ones who see themselves in your content and lean in. These are typically things like this: something quiet, I feel seen pieces, right? Value first frameworks, strategic belief shifts. The job of content, it's not to explain, it is to invite. Here's number 2, engagement signals, filtered for intent. Not all likes are created equal. You look for signals that imply intent. Repeat commenters, people engaging on belief-shifting posts, profile views after deep posts. You tag these, you track these, you prioritize these. Number 3, DM activation, respectful, targeted, and timely. This is where you turn passive readers into active participants. Not with a pitch, but with a thoughtful message that really meets them exactly where they are. Even 5 to 10 quality DM activations a week can really build a high trust, high ticket pipeline for yourself. Number 4, call or conversion bridge. DMs don't have to lead to a call. Sometimes it's a PDF, a link to your website, a soft invite to your community, or a webinar. The goal is always the same. You want to reduce friction and move them one step closer to working with you. Number 5, loop and learn. You review the cycle weekly, okay? What post created the best leads? Which DM opened the right door? What offer or invitation got the cleanest yes? This is your personal revenue loop audit, okay? Run it tightly. And you don't need thousands of followers. What you need is clarity, consistency, and care. The 3 C's again, okay? Here's quiet revenue, but done right. All right, if you guys have made it this far, you already know the truth. You don't need 100,000 followers. You don't need a viral post every single week. You don't need a complicated funnel. What you need is a system for surfacing the right people and turning that attention into trust. That's exactly what the DM does better than almost anything else on LinkedIn. And yet, most founders, they either ignore it, they outsource it, or they ruin it. So the 100K mistake isn't that you sent a bad message. It's that you didn't send one at all. It's that you sat back, waiting for someone to book a call, ask for help, or just magically convert after consuming 20 posts or so. That's not a pipeline. That's a prayer. Okay? But when you get the DM right, you create revenue quietly. You close without selling. You scale trust, not pressure. Every message becomes a conversation. Every conversation becomes a conversion, or at least an opportunity for one. And suddenly LinkedIn isn't just content, it's client acquisition infrastructure. Okay? If you really want to help building something like that, we do it inside Brand Built every single day. Or you can start with my newsletter, okay? That's at natberman.com. Real stories, no fluff, just clear guidance, okay? This is the path I built for myself and for the founders who want to grow without playing the loud game, okay? Not a cold DM machine, not a content hamster wheel, a quiet client engine. You've got the pieces. Now it's time to run the loop. And obviously, if you need help, you know where to find me. Speaking of finding me, if you haven't found me here yet, you might as well subscribe now. See you in the next video, guys.